Welcome back on part 3. Now let's continue about Sony. Best known for its electronic products, Sony offers a wide variety of product lines in many areas.
At its peak, it was dubbed as a corporate octopus for its sprawling ventures, from private insurance to chemicals to cosmetics to home shopping to a Tokyo-based French food joint. In addition, its core businesses such as electronics and entertainment.
Even after it has unwound many business units including Sony Chemicals and Video PC, Sony still runs diverse businesses. As of 2020, Sony is organized into the following business segments: Game and Network Services, GMNS, Music, Pictures, Electronics Products and Solutions, EPMS, Imaging and Sensing Solutions, IMSS, Financial Services, and others.
Usually, each business segment has a handful of corresponding intermediate holding companies under which all the related businesses are folded into, such as Columbia Records being part of Sony Music Group, a subsidiary and, at the same time, a holding company for Sony's music businesses, along with SMEJ.
Sony Corporation, Sony Electronics Corporation until 1 April 2021, is the electronics business unit of the Sony Group.
It primarily conducts research and development, R&D, planning, designing, manufacturing and marketing for electronics products.
Sony Global Manufacturing and Operations Corporation, SGMO, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sony Corporation and responsible for managing manufacturing operations both in Japan and overseas, through its own factories as well as third-party contract manufacturers. In 1979, Sony released the world's first portable music player, the Walkman, bundled with the MVL-3L2 headphones.
This line fostered a fundamental change in music listening habits by allowing people to carry music with them and listen to music through lightweight headphones.
Originally used to refer to portable audio cassette players, the Walkman brand has been widely adopted by the company to encompass its portable digital audio and video players as well as a line of former Sony Ericsson mobile phones.
In the case of optical disc players, the Discman brand was used until the late 1990s.
In 1999, Sony's first portable digital audio players were introduced. One was a player using memory stick flash storage, created by the Walkman division, and the other was a smaller pen-sized player with embedded flash storage, created by the video division, both accompanied with Sony's OpenMG copyright protection technology and PC software for music transfer.
Sony continued to develop Walkman digital audio players.
Sony is a major audio products manufacturer and one of the active noise control technology leaders. Sony produced the TV-8-301, the world's first all-transistor television, in 1959.
In 1968, the company introduced the Trinitron brand name for its lines of aperture grill cathode ray tube televisions and afterwards computer monitors.
Sony stopped production of Trinitron for most markets, but continued producing sets for markets such as Pakistan, Bangladesh and China.
Sony discontinued its series of Trinitron computer monitors in 2005.
The company discontinued the last Trinitron-based television set in the US in early 2007.
The end of Trinitron marked the end of Sony's analog television sets and monitors.
Sony used the LCD Raider name for its LCD TVs until summer 2005.
The company then introduced the Bravia name.
Bravia is an in-house brand owned by Sony, which produces high-definition LCD televisions, projection TVs and front projectors, home cinemas and the Bravia home theater range.
All Sony high-definition flat-panel LCD televisions in North America have carried the logo for Bravia since 2005.
In 2006, Sony lost its decades-long #1 market share in the global television market.
In November 2007, the Sony XEL-1, the first OLED television, was released and manufactured for 2 years.
Later in 2015, Sony demonstrated the first 4K OLED television.
As of 2012, Sony was the third largest maker of televisions in the world, and the business unit had been unprofitable for 8 consecutive years.
From 2011, Sony started restructuring of its loss-making television business, mainly by downsizing business units and outsourcing the manufacturing of display panels to the companies like Sharp Corporation, LG Display, and Samsung Electronics.
In December 2011, Sony agreed to sell all stake in an LCD joint venture with Samsung Electronics, SLCD, for about $940 million.
On 28 March 2012, Sony and Sharp announced that they have agreed to further amend the joint venture agreement originally executed by the parties in July 2009, as amended in April 2011, for the establishment and operation of Sharp Display Products Corporation, SDP, a joint venture to produce and sell large-sized LCD panels and modules.
The agreement was eventually terminated as Sony parted ways.
Sony's small-sized LCD business subsidiary and medium to large-sized OLED display business unit were spun off and became part of Japan Display and JOLED, respectively. In 2017, Sony launched OLED televisions under the Bravia brand. Also, Sony has sold a range of tapes, discs, recorders and players for video cassette, DVD, and Blu-ray formats for decades. Sony offers a wide range of digital cameras.
Its point-and-shoot models are branded CyberShot, while DSLRs and mirrorless models are branded Alpha, though Sony no longer makes DSLRs.
It also produces action cameras and camcorders with the company's cinema-grade products being sold under the Synalta name. Sony demonstrated a prototype of the Sony Mavica in 1981 and released it for the consumer market in 1988.
The first CyberShot was introduced in 1996.
Sony's market share of the digital camera market fell from a high of 20% to 9% by 2005. Sony entered the market for digital single-lens reflex cameras in 2006 when it acquired the camera business of Konica Minolta.
Sony rebranded the company's line of cameras as its Alpha line.
Sony is the world's third largest manufacturer of the cameras, behind Canon and Nikon respectively. In 2010, Sony introduced their first mirrorless, interchangeable lens cameras, which were the Nex 3 and the Nex 5.
They also started a new lens mount system, which was the E-mount.
There were quite a few Nex models out there when Sony decided to melt the Nex series into the Alpha series.
The first Alpha MILC was the A3000, which was introduced in August 2013.
It was followed by the full-frame A7 and A7R in October, then the successors of the Nex 5, the Nex 6 and Nex 7, the A5000 and the A6000 in 2014.
The A6000 became the most popular MILC ever, and Sony became the largest MILC manufacturer.
Sony produced computers, MSX home computers and news workstations during the 1980s.
The company withdrew from the computer business around 1990.
Sony entered again into the global computer market under the new Video brand, began in 1996.
Short for Video Audio Integrated Operation, the line was the first computer brand to highlight visual audio features.
Sony faced considerable controversy when some of its laptop batteries exploded and caught fire in 2006, resulting in the largest computer-related recall to that point in history. In a bid to join the tablet computer market, the company launched its Sony tablet line of Android tablets in 2011.
Since 2012, Sony's Android products have been marketed under the Xperia brand used for its smartphones.
On 4 February 2014, Sony announced that it would sell its Video PC business due to poor sales, and Japanese company Japan Industrial Partners, JIP, will purchase the Video brand, with a deal finalized by the end of March 2014.
As of 2018, Sony maintained a 5% stake in the new independent company.
Sony has targeted medical, healthcare and biotechnology business as a growth sector in the future.
The company acquired iSignition Technology Incorporated, renamed Sony Biotechnology Incorporated in 2012, a manufacturer of flow cytometers in 2010, and Micronix Incorporated, a developer of microfluidics-based diagnostic tools, in 2011.
In 2012, Sony announced that it would acquire all shares of Sonet Entertainment Corporation, the largest shareholder of M3 Incorporated, an operator of portal sites, M3.com, MRCon, MD-Links and Medigate, for healthcare professionals. On 28 September 2012, Olympus and Sony announced that the two companies will establish a joint venture to develop new surgical endoscopes with 4K resolution or higher and 3D capability.
Sony Olympus Medical Solutions Incorporated, Sony 51%, Olympus 49%, was established on 16 April 2013.
On 28 February 2014, Sony, M3 and Illumina established a joint venture called P5 Incorporated to provide a genome analysis service for research institutions and enterprises in Japan. In 2000, Sony was a marginal player in the mobile phone market with a share of less than 1%.
In 2001, Sony entered into a joint venture with Swedish telecommunications company Ericsson, forming Sony Ericsson Mobile Communications.
Initial sales were rocky, and the company posted losses in 2001 and 2002.
However, Sony Ericsson reached a profit in 2003.
The company distinguished itself with multimedia-capable mobile phones, which included features such as cameras.
These were unusual at the time.
Despite their innovations, Sony Ericsson faced intense competition from Apple's iPhone, which was released in 2007.
From 2008 to 2010, amid a global recession, Sony Ericsson slashed its workforce by several thousand.
In 2009, Sony Ericsson was the fourth largest mobile phone manufacturer in the world after Nokia, Samsung and LG.
By 2010, its market share had fallen to 6th place.
Sony acquired Ericsson's share of the venture in 2012 for over $1 billion.
Sony Mobile focuses exclusively on the smartphone market under the Xperia brand.
In In 2015, Sony contributed to around 2% of the mobile phone market with 37 million mobile phones sold.
Sony mobile sales reached a peak in 2014 with 40 million handsets. The volume has since decreased.
Sony shipped 13.5 million phones in 2017, 6.5 million in 2018, and 2.9 million handsets in FY 2020. Since the late 1990s, Sony has released numerous consumer robots, including dog-shaped robots called Devo, a music-playing robot called Raleigh, and a humanoid robot called Cleo.
Despite being a pioneer in the field, Sony had ceased robotics-related operations for 10 years due to financial difficulties, until it decided to revive them in 2016.
In 2015, Sony partnered with an autonomous driving startup ZMP Incorporated to establish an aerial surveillance and reconnaissance drone manufacturer named AeroSense.
At the CES 2021, Sony unveiled a drone with a brand air peak, the smallest of its kind, that can incorporate a Sony Alpha camera according to the company, entering the drone business on its own for the first time.
Sony traces its roots in the semiconductor business back to 1954, when it became the first Japanese company to commercialize the transistor, invented and licensed by Bell Labs, whilst some of the biggest and well-established names in Japan at the time, like Toshiba and Mitsubishi Electric, initially stuck with vacuum tubes they had been thriving on. Despite being an expert on the vacuum tube himself, Ibuka saw potential of the novel technology and had Marita negotiate the terms for licensing, making Sony into one of the earliest and the youngest licensees of the transistor, together with Texas Instruments.
In 1957, Sony employee Leo Esaki and his colleagues invented a tunnel diode, usually referred to as a Esaki diode, by which they discovered the quantum tunneling effect in solids, for which Esaki received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1973.
Sony has commanded a dominant share in the charge-coupled device market. As of 2020, Sony is the world's largest manufacturer of CMOS image sensors, as its chips are widely used in digital cameras, tablet computers, smartphones, drones, and more recently, self-driving systems in automobiles. As of 2020, the company, through its chip business arm Sony Semiconductor Solutions, designs, manufactures, and sells a wide range of semiconductors and electronic components, including image sensors, HADCCD, XMR, image processors, IMs, laser diodes, system OSI'(S), mixed signal OSI'(S), emerging memory storage, emerging displays, micro LED, micro LED, and holographic display, multifunctional microcomputer, presence, etc. In 2020, Sony has launched the first intelligent vision sensors with AI edge computing capabilities. Sony Interactive Entertainment, formerly Sony Computer Entertainment, is best known for producing the popular line of PlayStation consoles.
The line grew out of a failed partnership with Nintendo.
Originally, Nintendo requested Sony to develop an add-on for its SNES that would play compact discs.
In 1991, Sony announced the add-on, as well as a dedicated console known as the PlayStation.
However, a disagreement over software licensing for the console caused the partnership to fall through.
Sony then continued the project independently.
Launched in 1994, the first PlayStation gained 61% of global console sales and broke Nintendo's long-standing leading the market.
Sony followed up with a PlayStation 2 in 2000, which was even more successful.
The console has become the most successful of all time, selling over 150 million units as of 2011.
Sony released the PlayStation 3, a high-definition console, in 2006.
It was the first console to use the Blu-ray format, and was considerably more expensive than the competitors Xbox 360 and Wii due to the cell processor. Early on, poor sales performance resulted in significant losses for the company, pushing it to sell the console at a loss.
The PlayStation 3 sold generally more poorly than its competitors in the early years of its release, but managed to overtake the Xbox 360 in global sales later on.
It later introduced the PlayStation Move, an accessory that allows players to control video games using motion gestures. Sony extended the brand to the portable games market in 2004 with a PlayStation Portable, PSP.
The console has sold reasonably, but has taken a second place to a rival handheld, the Nintendo DS.
Sony developed the Universal Media Disc, UMD, optical disc medium, for use on the PlayStation Portable.
Early on, the format was used for movies, but it has since lost major studio support.
Sony released a disc-less version of its PlayStation Portable, the PSP Go, in 2009.
The company went on to release its second portable video game system, PlayStation Vita, in 2011 and 2012.
Sony launched its fourth console, the PlayStation 4, on 15 November 2013, which as of 31 December 2017, has sold 73.6 million units globally. On 18 March 2014, at GDC, president of SCE Worldwide Studio Shuhei Yoshida announced their new virtual reality technology, dubbed Project Morpheus, and later named PlayStation VR for PlayStation 4.
The headset brought VR gaming and non-gaming software to the company's console.
According to a report released by Houston-based patent consulting firm Lexinova in May 2015, Sony is leading the virtual reality patent race.
According to the firm's analysis of nearly 12,000 patents or patent applications, Sony has 366 virtual reality patents or patent applications.
PlayStation VR was released worldwide on 13 October 2016. On 31 March 2019, the successor to the PlayStation 4 was announced, and on 12 November 2020, the PlayStation 5 was released in North America, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore.
PlayStation has confirmed that the console will launch in Indonesia on 22 January 2021.
Upon completion of the fiscal quarter, Sony sold 4.5 million PlayStation 5 consoles, keeping pace with the best-selling console of all time, the PlayStation 2. Sony Entertainment has two divisions: Sony Pictures Entertainment, Sony Music Group, Sony Music Entertainment, Sony Music Publishing.
Sony USA previously owned and operated Sony Transcom, a technology business that provided in-flight entertainment programming as well as video and audio playback equipment for the airline industry.
Sony had purchased the business from Sunstream Corp in 1989 and subsequently sold it to Rockwell Collins in 2000. In 2012, Sony rolled most of its consumer content services, including video, music, and gaming, into the Sony Entertainment Network, the predecessor of PlayStation Network. Sony Pictures Entertainment Incorporated, SPE, is the television and film production/distribution unit of Sony.
With 12.5% box office market share in 2011, the company was ranked third among movie studios.
Its group sales in 2010 were $7.2 billion.
The company has produced many notable movie franchises, including Spider-Man, The Karate Kid, and Men in Black.
It has also produced the popular television game shows Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Sony entered the television and film production market when it acquired Columbia Pictures Entertainment in 1989 for $3.4 billion.
Columbia lives on in the Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group, a division of STE, which in turn owns Columbia Pictures and TriStar Pictures among other film production and distribution companies such as Screen Gems, Sony Pictures Classics, Sony Pictures Home Entertainment.
STE's television division is known as Sony Pictures Television. For the first several years of its existence, Sony Pictures Entertainment performed poorly, leading many to suspect the company would sell off the division.
In 2006, Sony started using Arcos protection on some of their film DVDs, but later issued a recall.
In late 2014, Sony Pictures became the target of a hack attack from a clandestine group called Guardians of Peace weeks before releasing the anti-North Korean comedy film The Interview. Sony Music Entertainment, also known as SME or Sony Music, is the largest global recorded music company of the Big Three record companies and is controlled by Sony Corporation of America, the United States subsidiary of Japan Sony. In one of its largest ever acquisitions, Sony purchased CBS Record Group in 1988 for $2 billion.
In the process, Sony partnered and gained the rights to the ATV catalog of Michael Jackson, considered by the Guinness Book of World Records to be the most successful entertainer of all time.
The acquisition of CBS Records provided the foundation for the formation of Sony Music Entertainment, which Sony established in 1991. In 1968, Sony and CBS Records had formed a 50-50 joint venture CBS/Sony Records, later renamed CBS/Sony Group, in Japan.
When CBS Records was acquired, a 50% stake in CBS/Sony Group, owned by CBS, was also transferred to Sony.
In March 1988, 4 wholly owned subsidiaries were folded into CBS/Sony Group and the company was renamed as Sony Music Entertainment Japan, SMEJ.
It operates independently of Sony Music as it is directly owned by Japanese Sony.
In 2004, Sony entered into a joint venture with Bertelsmann AG, merging Sony Music Entertainment with Bertelsmann Music Group to create Sony PMG.
In 2005, Sony PMG faced a copy protection scandal because its music CDs had installed malware on users' computers that was posing a security risk to affected customers.
In 2007, the company acquired Famous Music for $370 million, gaining the rights to the catalogs of Eminem and Akon, among others.
Sony bought out Bertelsmann's share in Sony PMG and formed a new Sony Music Entertainment in 2008.
Since then, the company has undergone management changes. Sony purchased digital music recognition company GraceNote for $260 million in 2008.
Tribune Media Company acquired GraceNote from Sony in 2014 for $170 million.
Besides its record label, Sony operates other music businesses.
In 1995, Sony merged its publisher with Michael Jackson's ATV Music Publishing, forming Sony/ATV Music Publishing.
At the time, the publishing company was the second largest of its kind in the world.
The company owns the publishing rights to over 4 million compositions, including the Beatles' Lennon-McCartney catalog, Bob Dylan, Eminem, Lady Gaga, Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, and Taylor Swift.
In 2012, Sony/ATV acquired a majority stake in EMI Music Publishing, becoming the world's largest music publishing company.
In 2018, Sony bought the rest of the shares in the publisher, making it a wholly owned subsidiary.
Since 2016, Sony owns all of Sony/ATV. Sony's entering into the Japanese animation, or anime, business happened in 1995 when its Sony Music Entertainment Japan (SMEJ) division established Aniplex as its subsidiary managing creative productions, which founded A1 Pictures, the first anime studio of Sony, 10 years later.
Since then, through group-wide and international ventures, Sony has solidified its position in the industry, elevating the business to what is called the fourth pillar of its entertainment portfolio, according to the Nikkei.
The anime business operations of Sony are scattered around the group, mainly in its pictures and music units, as follows. SMEJ's notable related businesses include Aniplex and its subsidiaries Cloverworks and A1 Pictures. While Sony Pictures Entertainment Japan (SPEJ) operates anime-oriented TV channels like Animax, Kids Station, Aniplex and US, headquartered Sony Pictures co-own US-based anime distribution company Crunchyroll, which since 2022 has become the successor company to Funimation, which it acquired in 2017 and included subsidiaries such as Wakanim, absorbing into Crunchyroll itself, and Madman Anime, to be rebranded as Crunchyroll T. Limited. In December 2020, Funimation announced that it would buy AT&T's animation business Crunchyroll for $1.175 billion, which would help the company to compete more globally with entertainment giants such as Netflix.
This acquisition was completed in August 2021.
Sony Financial Group is a holding company for Sony's financial services business, which includes Sony Life in Japan and the Philippines, Sony Assurance, Sony Bank, etc.
The unit proved to be the most profitable of Sony's businesses in FY 2005, earning $1.7 billion in profit.
Sony Financial's low fees have aided the unit's popularity while threatening Sony's premium brand name. A company behind the commercialization of lithium-ion battery, Sony has been exploring the possibility to manufacture the batteries for electric vehicles.
In 2014, Sony participated within NRG Energy Ready for Electric Vehicle (REV) program for EV charging parking lots.
However, the company then decided to sell its lithium-ion battery business to Murata Manufacturing in 2016. In 2015, Sony invested $842,000 in ZMP Incorporated, drawing speculations that it is contemplating developing self-driving cars.
Whoa!
In January 2020, Sony unveiled a concept electric car at the Consumer Electronics Show, named Vision S, designed in collaboration with components manufacturer Magna International.
At the occasion, Sony also stated its goal of developing technology for the automotive sector, especially concerning autonomous driving, sensors, and in-car entertainment. In 2022, Sony Group and Honda launched a joint venture for their electric vehicle partnership, Sony Honda Mobility (SHM), which would deliver its first electric vehicles by 2026 and sell them online, starting in the United States and Japan. We will continue about Sony on final part, which is part 4, so stay tuned.